Hello everyone, Mr. Hein is back. Today talking about how to write the equation from a tile pattern. So a week ago we talked about tile patterns, and now we're going to use these tile patterns and how they're growing to write equations to help us make predictions farther down the road. So if you need to, pause the video now and maybe copy this down because this is the format I'm going to use for this paper. All right. And then once you're done copying down, you can hit the play button again and keep watching the video. Yeah. So we're going to look at this one example here. And in this example, we have figure 1, 2, and 3. And there's 3 questions we want to answer. What's figure 0? How's it growing? And what's the equation? And I'm using this table to help us understand where the equation comes from. Right. So if I look at this pattern first, I always see 1 in the bottom. Okay. And figure 1 has 2 here. Figure 2 has 1, 2, 3, 4 here. So it looks like it added these 2 on. Figure 3 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, where it looks like it added these 2 on. So it looks like it's, how is it growing? It looks like it's adding 2 tiles per figure. So plus 2. What's figure 0 here? Well, then if we were to take away these 2, figure 0 would just look like a tile, right? If we took these 2 away, figure 0 would just be that singular tile. So there'd be 1 tile. Now, how do you get the equation of this tile pattern? Well, let's make sense of this in a table and then look for some patterns, because really we just want to look for patterns. X is going to represent the figure number, Y will represent the number of tiles. So in figure 0, there was 1 tile. In figure 1, there was 1, 2, 3 tiles. Figure 2 had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiles. Figure 3 had 6, 7 tiles. And we notice it's adding by 2, so figure 4 would have 9 tiles. Now what's the pattern here is we start at 1 and then we added 2. We added 2. We added 2. We added 2. Right? If we were to add, if I asked you what the 5th one would be, well, you know that you would just add 2. Right? So what's the equation here? Well, the equation here is going to be y equals, how do we get the number of tiles? Well, let me ask you this. If I asked you how many tiles are in the second figure number, what would you do? Well, from 1, how many times would you add 2? You would add 2 times. If I were to say how many tiles are in figure 10, well, you would add 2 10 times. If I was to say how many tiles are in figure 100, well, you would add 2 100 times, right? So you're adding 2, however, whatever the figure number is, however many times that is. So then it's going to, but we always started at 1. So the equation is going to be 1 plus 2x. And where that comes from, and I'll use some colors to help you see it, is 1 right here is figure 0. Right? You can see the 1 here, the 1 tile. So that is figure 0, the number of tiles in figure 0. Where does the 2x come from? The 2x is the growth, and I'll use red to help you see that. Notice how it's adding 2 every time. And that's where the plus 2x comes from, is that's the growth. And notice how this keeps changing, right? We only use the 1. We only use the 1 time. That's why there's not an x with it, because the x is like how many times. If I asked you figure 50, how many times would you have to add 2? 50 times. So that's why it's 2 times 50, adding 2 50 times. So this right here is we'll call it the growth rate today. Okay. And there you have it. So that's how this works. You have a tile pattern, you figure out the figure 0, the growth, and if you have these 2, figure 0 and the growth rate, you can build the equation. All right. Hope that makes sense to you. Give it your best attempt, and I'll be giving you feedback on your work. All right, good luck.